My friends, welcome to Weedy Weekend 76. Gord Birch, your hurtin' hippie, here with the news from this last week in cannabis, as shared with me, I share with you. I want to start off today with, from the people who sponsor me the most, MMJ Total Healthcare, mmjtotalhealthcare.ca, my favorite place. This is a wonderful, wonderful pink Bubba. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous mix of pink kush and Bubba kush, giving a beautiful, beautiful flavor. I got it from MMJ. You can too. If you're in Canada. I get so many people asking me, can we ship to the States? Can we ship to the UK even? I'm getting a lot lately. Boy, I wish. These laws need to change. My friends, what's with us this week? Let's first have another cheers. Sorry I'm late with this, but I had my son this weekend. It was his 8th birthday. It was his 8th birthday a week ago, but we celebrated this weekend. We had a great weekend. Just got him home, just home on the bus. Horrible bus driver, horrible, but that's another story. Let's move on with the stories we have. The first one, I don't have a lot this week, but this first one is medical marijuana, I wish they call it cannabis, for depression and anxiety. I have shared many stories before along these lines, and I will continue to share them because it is amazing what this medicine can do. It says here in the story, more often than not, those who suffer from depression are prescribed antidepressants, which have proven addicting and deadly. Fortunately, depression is one of the major conditions that cannabis has been able to treat. The efficacy of cannabis in treating mood disorders dates back to antiquity, when the use of cannabis for depression was first suggested in a publication entitled The Anatomy of Melancholy in 1621. So medicine even back then knew this was something to bring people out of depression. I suffer. I am a depression sufferer. It is cyclical. It is sometimes very difficult to manage. But when I'm down, more often than not, those around me say, you haven't medicated lately, have you? You're right. You're right. And then I medicate and I start pulling myself out. Thanks to hundreds of scientific studies analyzing the effects of cannabis on depression, we now know today why the herb is such a powerful antidote, giving it the nickname Green Prozac. Definitely a great story. Share it up, bring it to other people. If you know somebody who's suffering depression and mulling around that first decision about antidepressants, share this with them. I wish somebody shared it with me when my doctor was prescribing me antidepressants. Because I went a couple of weeks arguing it and then I gave in. And I wish I'd never given in. I'm off them now. We're moving on. Leafly shares with me, and somebody shared it with me. I think MMJ did. Leafly's visual quality guide to selecting cannabis. Now, this story I bring is more of a fluff piece, except I do have a lot of new cannabis users. Terry, if you're watching, peace, cheers. And you're only one that came to mind. Just one of many, 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 many that watch that I know are new. This is probably a really good one for you because I know that I'm pretty sure that Canada will be changing its ways and we will have more and more storefronts, more and more dispensaries, more and more chances for us to be able to look at the product that we're buying, smell the product we're buying, see the product we're buying, so that we're not stuck with just getting something in the mail that we... Luckily, me with MMJ, I trust them. I know what's coming. But with these LPs... you don't, and I've had difficulty. I've never been able to return product to an LP. So this is a good story. I'm not going to share any of it with you. There's a very good video and a good write-up It's Cannabis 101. It's buying cannabis. It's understanding what you're seeing, and does it mean quality or does it mean poor quality? Very important for beginners. I think it's a good one for any of you that need it. And this next one deserves a cheers with, yes, my Pura Vida vape pen. I have a few of these now. I'm really impressed. I will be talking more. They're lighter tokers with a heavy dose. So if you want extra, you take extra. I like it. Anyways, let's move on. Australia, and those of you who follow me from there, hey Joey, shout out. And there's a L, hey. Let me know. This sounds really new and may not be a very well covered story, but Australia legalizes medical marijuana cultivation. It doesn't necessarily say that it can be used medically by patients with prescriptions. So I'm wondering where the medical cannabis is, because they talk about importing in the current situation. Now they're allows for the licensing of cannabis cultivation and the production of cannabis and cannabis resins for medicinal and scientific purposes. The rules are going to be really strict allowing it, and medicinal purposes doesn't mean personally medicinal. And I think that may be where this goes, is it's the entrance to the market so that the medical personnel that are trying to prove that they need this for people don't have to import the medicine to do so. I think that's what this is about. It's a good story. Cheers to Australia. It's a step forward. It's a bigger step than the UK has taken, and I'd like to see them take some bigger steps. So cheers. Now, next story is the majority of NFL, National Football League players are saying legalize marijuana for our use and will way cut down the opioid use, the painkiller use. Toradol is the most common anti-inflammatory taken by NFL players. 64% of survey respondents said they had taken an injection of it or another painkiller. Marijuana has less known side effects than Toradol, and 41% of the players surveyed thought it would control pain more effectively. Nearly 60% are worried about the long-term effects of chemical painkillers, and 42% believe that they have had a teammate become addicted to chemical painkillers. That's a difficult one. That they're playing with some data there, and question it when they start saying they believe that a player that they know has had this difficulty. That usually means me, but I'm not going to say it. But it's an interesting story. It's a good story. I know it's really hot down in the States right now as to should they allow this. Those football players go through a lot of pain. Why should they just keep pumping themselves full of these chemicals? Much worse than any of us with chronic pain, because they're forever inflaming themselves over and over and over. I think it's a great even side on to cut down the painkiller usage. We will move on. It's going to be a short one today. Well, we're 9 minutes in. But it's 7:30 at night, and because of the time change, it's really in my mind 8:30 at night. I'm tired. It's been a long weekend, a wonderful weekend with my son. So let's move on. This next one comes from the Marijuana Times, and we've already had a good discussion in Google about it, is how marijuana and alcohol just should not mix. They don't mix. You can get greenouts, you can get really sick, but more importantly, those who use, I'm just going to quote this, and again, I just always say, I'm not speaking what they say when I quote. Those who use both marijuana and, cannabis and alcohol simultaneously reported drinking more at a time and more often than those who used either separately or alcohol only. Marijuana separately or alcohol only. Also, according to the study, simultaneous users were 3 times more likely to drink and drive, 6.5 times more likely to experience alcohol-related financial problems, and 4 times more likely to experience alcohol-related health problems compared to those who only used alcohol. So they add pot to the alcohol, not a good mix. And I agree, cut the alcohol out, just stick with the cannabis. It's medicine. Yet it gives you the good feeling that you want from alcohol too, but it's medicine, it doesn't hurt. Anyways, while correlation does not equal causation, boy, I say that all the time. I really do. As we all know, I can say from personal experience that ingesting both marijuana and alcohol at the same time greatly increases the effects of both. Yet, so much so that an entirely new effect is produced, one that neither by themselves gives you. The problem here, the alcohol tends to wipe away a lot of the self-awareness that cannabis brings you. Cannabis users, although yes intoxicated, know their limits. I'm very self-aware of our anxiety, our fears, that we aren't thinking quick enough, so we take more time on things. We are cautious, we are careful. Alcohol takes that away. It gives you that Superman feeling. That Superman feeling mixed with the euphoria of the cannabis is just not a good mix. It's not a good mix. Not something I'd recommend, not something I hope any of you would ever try. It just doesn't work well. I've never seen it work well. But that's also, hey, it's a personal thing, and to those of you who it does work well with, hey, power to you. Power to you. I miss my beer. I really do. The final one is just something that I'm going to say, click on it for fun. It's just a fun thing. Gary Johnson once ran for president. He is the former New Mexican governor, Gary Johnson. And it's just how he faked a heart attack during a discussion about marijuana because one of the women were going on saying, well, we can't legalize it because your increased chance of heart attack for the first hour while you smoke it, and he falls on the floor. But the reason I share it is also to bring forward a bit of a discussion. While it may be true for a fair amount of users that for the first hour after smoking some, if you don't smoke often, your blood pressure rises. That gives you an increased risk of heart attack. But that is not an argument for non-legalization, because legalization brings forward medicine for dying kids and dying adults of cancer, epilepsy, so many different skin issues and lifelong issues. And I say, those who have or are prone to heart attack or have high blood pressure are ones who are very self-aware and likely stay away from either any strain that would cause that or marijuana altogether. So they're making an argument for such a tiny percentage of the population that could maybe, maybe, although no record of any death, so therefore no record of a heart attack caused by marijuana. But just in case, let's not legalize it. That's the ridiculousness of it, and I love that somebody who was a governor can fall on the floor and fake a heart attack on national TV to make a point. I love that kind of advocacy. Go Gary Johnson. You may not be the greatest libertarian out there, but you're certainly a good advocate. So, my friends, that's the end of it. Yeah, I've had enough. I really have. Because that little bit has hit me because I've had almost nothing all day but CBD. A cheers to you all. Peace to y'all. Love and harmony. And I hope you don't find somebody without a smile today or tomorrow, because I hope all around you smiles. Peace and cheers.